Welcome to the Vine Resources Podcast Show with your host, David Lawrence.
Welcome to another edition of the Vine Resources Podcast Show. Well, look, I'm delighted today to have with us Nitzan Shapira. Nitzan is the co-founder and CEO of Epsagon. Nitzan is based normally in New York City, but he's actually on the line from Israel today. Nitzan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Nitzan, I wonder if you can share with our listeners. We're going to jump just straight into it. Tell us a little bit about the company and the background, please. And, I'm sure our listeners would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, sure. So Epsagon is a company founded about 2.5 years ago. We're based in New York and Tel Aviv, as you said. And we are in the space of cloud computing. So what we do is we have a platform, a SaaS platform, that helps engineering teams and DevOps teams to monitor and troubleshoot their applications. And our focus is on cloud and microservices technologies. So technologies like containers, Kubernetes, serverless, these are the technologies our customers use to build applications, and we help them figure out what's going on in production.
Fantastic. And I know you've got quite a range of customers and companies that you work with on your website. Can you give us a bit of background? What does a typical company that you engage with look like, and perhaps what kind of problems do they come to you with, and how have you sort of overcome those challenges?
So first of all, again, on the website, you can see some case studies and stories that are very detailed, but just for some examples, it can be, for example, a tech company or a startup that is kind of born in the cloud, and now Epsagon is growing with them as they grow. Or on the other hand, it can be a more traditional business such as insurance or retail or media companies. As you can see on the website, some of our customers are, for example, Generali, one of the largest insurance companies in the world. So these businesses are going through a digital transformation. And as part of it, they are moving more and more workloads to the cloud and to microservices, and then Epsagon is there to help them understand what's going on that part of the business, which is typically the more strategic part, because they made a decision to go there. So Epsagon is very involved in their day-to-day of the engineering teams and the DevOps teams when they develop and operate those applications.
Fantastic. And what would have organizations been doing perhaps in the old way, and perhaps how are you saving them time?
So essentially what happens is that when you go into those microservices technologies, and especially in the cloud where there is almost an endless possibilities, you can really pick and choose any technology you want. Applications are becoming much more complicated, more distributed in terms of their architecture, and using many technologies, API, types of workloads, and so on. So traditionally, people would use different types of tools, which are mainly metrics. Essentially, you have some metric if it's on the infrastructure or the application, and you can get alerted based on that metric, and logs. So log aggregation tools are, storing all the logs from the code, and then you can search in the logs. But these tools haven't changed for a very long time, and they weren't built to deal with distributed systems, because usually in the old days you would have a big piece of code and it would be on some server, and then you can pretty much understand what's going on just based on the metrics and logs from that server and that piece of code, like called the monolithic application. Today you have dozens, hundreds, and even thousands of services, and sometimes the infrastructure is not even accessible to you. And if you have only metrics and logs, it suddenly can take, instead of 5 minutes, 5 hours or even days to be able to investigate a production problem. And this can be very expensive, because every minute of downtime can cost $8,000 based on some benchmarks, and not to mention the engineering time and lost developer velocity. So Epsagon is addressing this problem with the technology of distributed tracing, which is something completely different that has been around for some time, but it has been adopted only by very tech-savvy companies. Netflix, Slack, those companies are building everything in-house, so they build it for themselves. But Epsagon is essentially making it fully automated and building a platform on top of it, so making it accessible to, let's say, the other 95% of the market, so they can actually benefit from distributed tracing technologies out of the box. And the impact is that you can actually troubleshoot a problem with 5 minutes instead of hours when you have something like that in place.
Fantastic. And out of interest, you've got a pricing model as a software as a service. How did you come up with the decisioning in putting that right model in place? How did you optimize that really helps your customers?
Optimize the pricing model?
Yeah, perhaps the pricing and the features. What are the kind of things that that people have found that's important to them?
Oh yeah, sure. So we built the product from day one by working very closely with customers. I think after we raised our seed round, a month after that, we were already installed with a customer in production. So everything we built was with customers' feedback, and we actually launched the product to GA very quickly. In about 6 months, we opened it up to sign up and try it for free as a free trial. So we got a lot of feedback from day one. So that's how we built it. And today, our product, we have hundreds of customers, thousands of users, and we are in very close contact with them. If it's through shared Slack channels, the support chat in the product, or just ongoing conversations. So, we came into a market that was big and it has a big problem. So you immediately start hearing about pain points like, I'm spending too much time because I have to search through the logs. And then you understand that logs are not capturing the distributed transaction. So how can we do it? So that's how we started with developing the product and developing the automated tracing technologies and so on. So Fantastic. It's kind of evolving until today.
And tell us about those early days. You've grown the company quickly. You've obviously raised investment, which is fantastic. What was those first 6 months like? What was the challenges you had? Talk us through a little bit about how that looked.
So in the beginning, it was just me and my partner in his living room, thinking about ideas. And once we got into the whole stage of, we wanted to do something in cloud computing, and we started just speaking with customers, with companies, to figure out what pain points are they having. And we had a lot of experience ourselves in software engineering management, and cybersecurity, and a lot of kind of low-level stuff, complex networks, and so on from the Israeli intelligence for many years. So we could really appreciate those kind of problems that we were hearing. And when we started to to see the same pattern over and over again, people were using microservices, like these kind of technologies, and everyone would say the same things of, I don't have visibility into what's going on. I spend too much time troubleshooting. It has a big impact on my business. So, that's how the story shaped up. And I remember we had some kind of a POC that Ran, my partner and CTO, put together in like 2 weeks. And we just went fundraising. We had a pretty successful seed round. And then we, hired a team. And about 18 months after that, we had a much more significant A round. And now we have a much larger team, of course, the HQ in New York and so on.
Fantastic. What are the big lessons that you learned about that investment raising phase?
A bunch of stuff. I have some kind of a playbook that I put together to help other entrepreneurs, like some friends, and I really shared it with them, like how I see fundraising and what's the best, most optimal way to do it, in my opinion. But definitely the biggest lesson is to make a decision that you do it and put a time frame on it, and then align everything to that time frame. So let's say you want to do a fundraising, you say, okay, I have 6 weeks, and then you set a date, and then you basically reach out to you do the research, you find out the investors you want, you found out how you want to get to them. You need to use connections, you need to do some effort, of course, it's not easy, but then once you set the meetings, you have to have a cadence, and you can constantly improve and be very efficient. So you have to control the process at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd love to hear that. Is that a book that's going to be launched soon as well?
I wouldn't call it a book, more maybe like a blog post, but
fantastic.
Maybe, I probably will share it at some point.
So tell us, Nitzan, what is a typical day in the business looking like for you right now?
I don't think anything right now is typical, but first of all, I live in New York, and right now I'm in Israel, so that's already different. So my day is not as important as my night because the commercial team is in the US. We have both East Coast and West Coast presence, and with Israel, it's 7 to 10 hour difference. So I have many work to do from the afternoon to the night. But I guess, we have quite a few people right now. So there is a lot of stuff going on, of course, in the product and engineering, constantly releasing new things. And then on the business side of things, we just expand the team almost every day with more account executives, sales engineers, customer success, and so on. So we engage with customers many, many times every day. We kick off POCs, we close business, of course. So I'm involved in all of this, and we have very strong management team, obviously. So each domain is managed by the VP or the manager of that domain. But a lot is going on. It's a very hot market as well. Like many companies. Like if you think about it, our solution is applicable to almost any type of business because everyone is in the cloud today.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a lot of demand and we need to grow as quickly as we can.
So how's things impacted you around that, work from home? I don't know if you had everyone centrally in an office, some working from home, others not. How's it impacted you, or what's the challenges or perhaps the opportunities moving forward?
So first of all, once COVID started, we immediately moved to working from home, even though right now we do have both the Tel Aviv office and the New York office active. So some people go to the office, but generally we are very used to it. I guess, first of all, we have three offices to begin with: Tel Aviv, New York, and San Francisco. So we have to do a lot of online calls anyway. But of course, the impact was, for me, first of all, it was just personal impact. I really enjoy meeting the team in person. And I think it's just much more fun to work as a team in the office and, get a drink and celebrate successes together. So there is definitely some disconnection when you have to be remote, and I can hear it from other people as well. At the same time, some people really like it. People that they can spend more time with their family or can save a lot of time on commute. So I think what it learned us is that it's definitely possible to run and scale a business this way. There is almost no limitation today. Like our business is moving forward. We're able to do almost everything, not almost, like literally everything from remote, because everything we do is in the cloud. So at the end, we don't have to come physically to the customer to install some kind of hardware or anything like that. So we can really move quickly even from remote. But I think culture-wise, there is a lot of downside to it. So, the short answer is that I don't like it, and I hope that things will be normal or back to normal soon. But if somebody wants to work from home right now, it's no big deal. That's pretty much what I can say.
Now, just moving on to that, and particularly the last few months, how have you kept that motivation, and how have you kept that communication line open for the team? What have you been doing to support the organization and the people around you?
So obviously we have Slack, which is a great way to have everyone in the same place in a way. But then what we did was successful is just like you have in engineering teams, you have what's called like a stand-up. So you go and you do the updates once a day. So we did the same thing for the commercial team, and we still do it. It's great. 10, 15 minutes. Every person has a quick update, and it keeps people like in some kind of cadence. And then we have the company updates that goes to the entire company, like an all hands. So we have it pretty frequently, so everybody can keep up to date with the business and all the successes on both sides. And kind of virtual happy hours. And there is some stuff, like cool stuff you can do in Slack that essentially sets up virtual coffees with people from the team automatically, so people can kind of get to know each other.
That's good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And I guess just more communication than regular, because when you are not in the office together, like when you are not on a Zoom call, you are alone. So you have to over communicate in a way.
Now, for those who don't know, and maybe I've got this wrong, but I remember from my visits to Tel Aviv in Israel, there's a great culture of late night working or being out and about. I was curious how you're obviously having to work late, but I know the sun comes up early in the morning. How do you manage that and juggle that time to make sure you're getting enough sleep as well?
Yeah, honestly, I'm getting enough sleep. I'm doing fine. Like at the end of the day, it actually forces me to be more efficient with my time, because when I'm in the US, I have the whole day available to me, and I just wake up early enough to speak with Israel. But now, all my work happens in US time zones, so I don't want to just schedule meetings randomly at 2 a.m. obviously. So I really have to be more cautious with my time.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's actually a pretty good practice because it makes you focus, not have unnecessary meetings, not have meetings that you don't really want or you don't really need right now. So if you look at my schedule, it's going to be much more packed if you like back to back, but hours wise, it's probably more efficient than what it was when I was in New York.
And by the way, that's not everyone can do that, and not everyone can adjust to that kind of mindset and drive. Where's that come from in you? And is there some stories from your childhood that's influenced that kind of that work ethic and that mentality?
I don't know if it's about childhood. Yeah, I mean, my parents were always working really hard until now, actually. But I think it's a lot of it came from the military service, like from the intelligence service. So we did work a lot, and actually, me and my co-founder and many of our team members were doing many late nights and actually full nights, like until 8 a.m. sometimes, doing this kind of work. And then when you think about it, like, you can't really work more than that. So if you compare anything to that, it sounds okay. So as long as I have free time, I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty good actually. If I can do things that I like, I don't mind work, and I enjoy working. It's my company, so I do think there is a good balance, and I don't even call it balance. It's more like a harmony, work-life harmony. You just need, if you enjoy work, it's not a big deal. I like working and I like doing other things. I just need to find time for both. And honestly, it's not a big problem to me.
Good. What's the best advice you could give someone going through tremendous business change? I'm sure you've been through it as the organization grows, and certainly the last 3 months. What would be your advice?
Look at the good things that came out of it, because at the end of the day, in every big change, many positive things arise, and many people can see it now. For example, one of the large deals we closed last quarter, we would probably think about visiting that customer, going on a plane, spending time, but then we closed the deal without meeting them ever face to face because we couldn't meet them. And if you think about it, it was actually much more efficient. So now we know that we can do it, and we will maybe even try to do it in the next time. So I think if you just sit down and write a list of the 5 to 10 good things that happened, there are many. So even if at first it's like nobody likes change and there are some downsides, there are almost always some significant upsides. So just look at the bright side, I guess.
Just talking about that point about the closing deals, and just to see in the future, if obviously we get through this and get a vaccine and it all starts up again, do you think that will return to that status quo of having those meetings because that will give you that competitive advantage, or do you think companies will continue to work it like this as well?
I think from the customer's standpoint, maybe it became even more convenient not having to meet the vendor anymore.
Yeah.
And just purchase quickly, just like people like self-serve on the website.
Yeah.
Maybe they like online. But for the for the startups like us, I think the personal relationship is actually very important, because it will make the customer much more retained and long term. So I do see the value in meeting in person, even if it's not necessary in the beginning.
So what's exciting you then in the future? What's exciting you in your industry, and how is that going to shape up in the next 12 months? In your opinion?
So our market is growing massively, as you know, people are going to the cloud more and more, and the applications in general are becoming a more critical part in the business, software in general. So the exciting thing is that it's not going to slow down. I think, with COVID, it's probably only gonna increase because software again is becoming very significant.
Yeah.
Online especially. So exciting stuff is that, it's all growing. It's all like more businesses are going to the cloud, even businesses that didn't even think about it. Suddenly they are forced to do it because there is nobody at the data center to take care of it.
Yeah.
So the exciting thing is that I think, 6, 12, or even more months from now, the world is going to look different. Like there's going to be people are going to be much more perceptive to cloud technologies in general. Even the companies that said, no, never, not for us, suddenly they go there. And eventually it all impacts our business as well. So we anticipate to see a lot of growth long-term because of the COVID.
Brilliant. Nikita, what kind of people are you looking to connect with? Who are you interested in building relationships with?
So in our industry, there are different players that are very significant, from the like the cloud vendors that we work very closely with, like, AWS, Azure, GCP, to the actual customers. So in every large company that is going through this digital transformation, there are the kind of champions that do it actually and convince everyone that it's a good thing. So those are the people eventually it's really interesting for us to talk to because they can share with us a lot about what was the reason for them to go and do this transformation, what challenges they're facing. So really any kind of person that is involved in cloud and digital transformation in a large company, super interesting for us to talk with.
Brilliant. And if you were finally just giving your 20-year-old self one piece of advice now looking back, what would you say to yourself?
Don't worry, I guess, because it turned out fine.
Yeah, good.
Pretty good. And honestly, I would do most of the things exactly the same. So
fantastic. Nitzan, if people want to connect with you, find out more about the company, what's the best way that they can do that?
So first of all, our website, epsagon.com. My email is Nitzan, Nitzan @epsagon.com. I promise I reply on every email. And yeah, it's pretty easy to get in touch. LinkedIn, pretty easy today.
Fantastic. Nitzan, thanks for joining us. Good luck on your quest back to the US, hopefully sometime this year, maybe. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We really hope you enjoyed the podcast today. If you want to listen to more exclusive tips and life lessons from our guest, go to the resources page at vineresources.com.